What's up guys, today's video is an interview with one of my coaching clients, Eric. He scaled his short form content agency from 5 to 30 grand a month in a matter of weeks, and in this video he's going to reveal his secrets, show the process that he used on Twitter to be able to grow that fast. So it's going to be super valuable for all of you. Let's just roll with the interview. What's up, Eric?
Yo, how you doing, Tim?
Yeah, I'm doing amazing, dude. I'm happy to have you here on this little interview podcast type of video. I'd like to chat with you about your success with the agency and all sorts of stuff. We're gonna get into that, and potentially just also get some insight on your new coaching business and chat about that a little bit. But yeah, dude, glad to have you here.
Definitely, man. No, that all sounds good. Yeah, man. How you been doing, man?
Everything is going so amazing. We just talked a bit with Eric just a minute ago about how enjoyable coaching business is, and that's actually it's super true. Once you jump on calls with your coaching clients, and everyone is winning, everyone is kind of succeeding. Even though there are some problems and issues, it's so easy to fix them if the system is dialed in. So yeah, enjoying the work, enjoying the clients work and everything. But yeah, dude, I wanted to just first to give some sense for people who are watching, just to give a sense of what you do in everything. You had a crazy journey. You scaled to 26 or I believe in 30k cash collected in a matter of weeks basically, and most importantly with 800 followers on Twitter. So do you mind just telling us a little bit more about yourself, about your background, how you got into this agency short form game, and we will just take it from there as a regular conversation.
Background of me, I'll give you a fast background of everything, how it started. So I got started in the good old dropshipping days back in the day. So moved from that into NFT marketing, ran it up on Twitter with NFT marketing and everything. Once that kind of was dying down, I moved into a paid ads agency. We pretty much worked for 3 months, didn't get any results for clients, ended up refunding them everything. And then I was like, okay, I need something new. So I hopped into TikTok Organic. I had some experience with obviously short form and stuff. So I was like, let's try on TikTok Organic. And then I started that in January of this year, and it was a slow climb because, again, I was pretty much focused on outbound, which is now I know huge mistakes, outbound, this and that, pushing the offer. Every single call I hopped on was a hard sale, and it was just a nightmare. So then I actually came across your profile, and I saw wow, this guy's posting some really nice content, and I'm like, I wonder obviously how your acquisition looks like, and I'm guessing you have a much easier time. And then coincidentally, you ended up DMing me a couple of days later. We talked about this and everything. We hopped on a call, and I was like, yeah, I think this is definitely the road I want to go with. I guess the plan, making personal brand more important. So I decided, that's the play right now: personal brand, getting inbound leads instead of always having to hard sell and push the offer. I was just like, you know what, I want it to be the other way around when people come to me and ask for help. So we started working together. At the time I was at 300 Twitter followers, if I'm not mistaken. And from 300 followers and no inbounds, no type of branding, nobody really knows me, went in just I think it was maybe 2 months, just a couple weeks, to 800 followers. So pretty good follower climb. But people actually started treating me with respect. People were like, okay, this guy's an expert on TikTok, this and that. Started getting inbound leads, started actually getting people on calls, from changing it from, why should I even buy this to, I understand it works, but is it a fit for my product? Is it something that you think you can get viral? And it just completely changed. And then it went from signing clients at a $1.5, $2,000 retainer to a $4.5, $6,000 retainer. Even had one brand who paid us total, including creator fees, over 14K in 1 month. Wow. So it's it changed completely from just having to push everything from myself, hard sell, having people not really treating me with any respect, to people coming to me for help, people treating me with respect on calls, people actually are being confident in the service. One thing I'll also add is, back in the day, everyone was like, case study, can you show me case studies? When I made the switch into pretty much making myself an authority on actually on Twitter and such, nobody actually asked me for case studies anymore, which is it's not I don't have any to show, but nobody even had to question if it works, right? So that was my journey, pretty much using Twitter alone. Grew from I think at the time I was at 5 or so thousand MRR, went to 25, then to 30 MRR with just Twitter, under 1,000 followers. And then that was my journey there. And then I realized that I don't really enjoy e-commerce too much, and it wasn't something I was really passionate about. I was less passionate about it than I thought I was, I guess you could say, because when I started helping one of my friends grow his agency and I got into this space a little bit, the coaching style, I was like, wow, I'm so passionate about this. I love this. I could do this all day. I could legit hop on a 6-hour consulting call and be fine with it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much been my journey. I moved into this now where I'm helping other agency owners and B2B businesses grow their business. And yeah, that's been my journey.
Dude, appreciate it. And you made like so many points. I'll just try to like break every single down because they're like all super interesting. Because like first you mentioned like the way we started working together and that like outbound basically like sucks. And I agree on that. Outbound, like if you're doing cold outreach, cold emails or cold messages like Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, it sucks because you need to sell yourself and people are not sold on the idea. They're like, why should we work with you? And this is like, by extension bad positioning to, and you can't charge high ticket, you can't really close like have this like one call closes, etc. But the way we started working together, like you followed me and you were like, as you said, you were like this guy has a system, this guy like knows his stuff, etc. But you were not an inbound lead. I reached out to you. So I sent you a DM and basically it took me like, I don't know, like 3 messages. We hopped on a call and we agreed to work together. It's still outbound, but we reach out to our like warm audience, to people who are already sold on the idea that like we are an experts, we have case studies, we have experience, authority, everything. So we still do outbound because not every single lead is ready to DM you first, but then your audience already has like these people who are like who are sold on the idea just to work, to talk to you and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just like a great explanation of like why do we use this this I call it social sniper method. A lot of other coaches call it like in a different ways, but basically it's just like warm outbound, which is nice, which is like enjoyable. Exactly. All right, so I wanted to ask you how long did it take you? You said that you started at like 300 followers. I remember we did a lot of stuff with your account to make you look at, as an authority figure in the niche, all sorts of stuff. But how long did it actually like take you to get your first like client from Twitter?
It was super fast. It was less than a week actually. It was a super low ticket one. That one was like 1,000 per month, super low ticket, consulting style. But it was less than a week that I got my first client. And I texted you, I'm like, hey, first client signed. You're like, are you serious?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. It legit took less than a week. And it was almost, I think it was actually a big reason why was when you taught me the difference of writing to sparrows, eagles and sparrows, right? That was actually the biggest difference. When I started positioning my tweets differently and I started writing to my audience, it was almost like they instantly found my content. Like it was probably like some algorithm stuff. I'm not even sure. I'm not going to guess why it happened, but instantly when I started writing, as if I was writing to my target audience, like personally writing them a message almost, they just started finding my tweets. And then it took me less than a week to sign my first one. Within the second week I signed my second one, and then I think within the third or fourth week I started signing like the higher ticket ones because we changed the positioning even more. So super fast, man, honestly, super fast. And I think it was actually just the positioning that changed everything.
Positioning is, dude, it's a lot. And I remember how you switch it. I mean, I could just like sense it through like reading your content, because when you write tweets like 15 TikTok hooks to go viral, only people who are like creators and like just drop shippers who just like fuck around, they are interested in this stuff. But if you're like how to add 30k months to your like 100k months ecom brand, it's like you constantly just call out your target audience from this feed, which is crazy. Yeah, I love this analogy with like eagles and sparrows, just because if you attract the wrong audience with your content, then it doesn't matter how good is your outreach, you reach out to wrong people. So yeah, I love that. And I remember how you were like signing these like low ticket ones at first, and then kind of just switched like that. Did you change something in your mindset to be able to charge more, or is it just like right audience, right messaging, right script, and that's it?
It was definitely like a mix of the two. I think it definitely took a bit of mindset as well, because like as I guess you could say at the time, newer agency owner, it was almost like it took some more confidence to be like, I can actually charge these type of high prices, you know what I mean? And have the confidence to actually like pitch that on call. So a bit of the mindset stuff, but I was always pretty confident in my stuff. So that wasn't like a huge thing. But I think mainly was the positioning and the way I wrote, which changed everything. It was also just honestly putting a focus on making myself seem like more of an expert on Twitter, if you know what I mean. So I kept just another good thing was providing value in comments of other pages that were big and just engaging with them. That was a big one because people were finding me from that. It was honestly just like every single thing together. I wouldn't even credit it to one certain like part of it. I would just say fixing my positioning, more confidence, engaging with people correctly. And yeah, it was just a mix of everything, but it kind of happened as we went as well, because it started being low ticket people when the account first started getting some conversations on, first started getting some engagement, and then when like bigger, I guess you could say, I wouldn't call them influencers, but like bigger, I guess, like accounts started engaging and talking with me and such. Then the richer brands, I guess you could say, and the brands who are doing like 100K per month plus started finding me as well. So it was definitely a bit of a longer term play to go the high ticket, but I think it took like, maybe I say long term play, but it's still like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? But right, yeah.
In this game, you're always like, it feels ages, but then you just look back and you're like, dude, I scaled from like 5 to 25K months in like 4 weeks, and it felt forever.
Long-term
I was
play.
stuck forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I always like with these things, I'm like, when I'm like frustrated, I'm just like, dude, I'm not progressing, and I'm like, just recently we signed like this amount of deals, like this amount of cash collected. I'm like, yeah, probably we're not like too frustrated, so it's like
Exactly.
I think it's just like the overload, the general like money Twitter sphere where like everyone is flexing their wins like every single day, and you're like, I'm
Exactly.
falling behind, but it's not like that. You should fix this mindset. It's not always like coming as fast, even if as like you succeeded, because like 4 weeks until you probably like you reached like 10K MRR or something in the first 4 weeks. I remember we did our first interview once you reached this like 10K mark, so it was crazy. It was crazy journey. If you were to like, I know a lot of agency owners are watching us, and probably they're like stuck at somewhere between like 5 and 10K, so they're like pretty much in the same spot you were one day. So if you were to like kind of map up a plan for them, or like just what was the step-by-step process? I mean, without like going into details much, because there's a bunch of things like positioning, messaging, etc.
Right.
Maybe like 2-3 key things that you did that led you to like basically scale into 20-30 grand a month.
Okay, so the first thing I would recommend is to fix up your offer first of all and turn it into like a necessity offer. So that was the first thing we did, is that we realized that my offer is something that, it's nice to have. It's like when you tell it to someone on a call, the reaction would be like, yeah, I would love that one day, right? And it's like a luxury offer. That was the first thing, is to change the offer to something that people actually need, and to honestly raise the prices. I would think that was a big one as well, because working with the lower ticket clients, I don't even have to explain, it's a headache. They're going to keep hitting you up. There's going to be a ton of problems. When you work with these bigger brands and bigger companies, bigger agencies who can pay these higher ticket retainers, not only are you making more money, but you're also just going to have way more of a stress-free life. So that's the first thing, is shift the way you position your offer into something that people actually need and people will pay for if they hear it, right? Because you don't want to have to hard sell everything, and then also raise your prices. Second thing is to start providing a ton of value and to start writing a bunch of content on your social medias. Now, a thing I like to say is, if you give all of your sauce away, someone will pay you to cook it for them, right? Like that's really how it is. If you give up all your sauce on Twitter, on Instagram, you just make a bunch of valuable content, people will be like, this guy's an expert, they're going to trust you, and they're going to want you to do it for them. Nobody really goes on your Twitter profile, reads everything on your Twitter, and then takes that information and makes an action plan. Like nobody actually takes action from what you're writing about. However, even if you give them the biggest tips, however, they will trust you. They will trust that fact that you know what you're doing, and they're going to actually pay you. So the number one is restructure your offer into necessity offer and raise your prices. Number two is start writing content that is providing a bunch of value, even if you think you're almost sharing too much. If you're sharing too much info, you're giving like, why maybe I shouldn't be giving this away for free. That's kind of how you should be feeling. So that's number two. Exactly. And then number three is make sure that you are hitting, this is something I need to work on myself, is make sure you treat every single lead with more value, to be honest. Because a thing that I found, especially through working on the TikTok Organics agency, is that a lot of these big accounts that are, $1 million brands, they have a random name like, Mango Lover 23. It's like completely random, no profile picture, and you will never have found them otherwise. But they might have liked your tweet. So you still want to go to Mango Lover 23 and say, hey, thanks for the like. Because realistically, you might figure out in the next 2 to 3 questions that he is a $1 million brand owner, right? And that's something that you really have to focus on. That's something that I have to focus on better myself, is just honestly treating every single lead and every single engagement with more importance, and making sure that they are treated properly, because at the end of the day, they could be someone who's paying you a couple $1,000s a month. So a good way to do that is either just discipline yourself or hire a setter, right? So those are the 3 things I would say. Restructure your offer into necessity offer, number one, and raise your prices with that. Number two is to start writing some high value content and give away a bunch of sauce. And obviously that comes with positioning yourself and positioning your profile better. And then number 3 is to outreach and still do some outbound. Like you said, that's the way you signed me. Realistically, I probably would have never messaged you and said, hey, can I have help with Twitter? I mean, actually, I know for sure I would have never done that because I've never done that yet, right? So it's important to actually start messaging leads. So those are the 3 things I would say for sure are the most important to actually scale.
I mean, I love the way you put them because in the second point of like putting out content, you don't even mention Twitter because like it doesn't matter. Like if you are like scaling on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, the strategy is the same. You put out like a lot of value, a lot of valuable content, and then you reach out to people who like your stuff, who like follows you and stuff like that. So you scale on Twitter. That's because like short form agencies, I mean, this is probably the easiest place to scale a short form agency in 2023, 2024. But there's Instagram, and you said before the call, you said that you are like starting on Instagram already with this reels and ad strategy, which is great, killer. I know that you were like using like LinkedIn as well. So platforms are different. It's just the matter of where your target audience is hanging out and how well you can deliver content for them. If they're ready to share it, if they're ready to engage with it. It doesn't matter if they have a like solid profile or not, because you worked with e-com brands and they don't typically, show that they're like founders and like own these like $1 million companies. I appreciate it. I mean, it's like a killer framework. I mean, like what are your future plans? So like you scaled to 30K MRR, like you build a killer agency. You said that you're not enjoying it. So like what's the future of Eric? Like where can we find you, and like what do you do now? Because it's also super exciting.
Yeah, definitely. So as you mentioned, I scaled my agency to like 30K, and then I kind of realized, hey, I don't actually really enjoy e-commerce. I'm not really passionate about this. And obviously that is a massive bottleneck for service delivery, because realistically, how am I going to sit down for hours and write about something I don't really care about? And even if I force myself to do it, it's going to be, half-assed. It's going to be lackluster. It's not going to be good. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, but I still want to be in the agency space because I love the agency space in general. And I helped 2 of my friends actually set up their agencies as well. Like 2 of my friends in real life, I helped them set up agencies and kind of like start working in that field. And I realized that, I spent a lot of hours doing it for them with no payment, obviously, because they're my friends. I was like, let's just do it. And I realized that I actually didn't mind. I had 100% enjoyment. I could literally sit on a call for 5 hours and help them with it. And I realized that I enjoyed it the whole time. So I was like, you know what, this is something I want to do. And I realized another thing is that my most favorite part of the agency is honestly the setup, which I realized I love setting it up. I love creating the offer, the branding, the whole positioning. That's my favorite part. So I was like, you know what? That sounds like it's perfect for like a client acquisition consulting firm where I help other agencies grow their personal brands, grow their clientele, that type of stuff. So that's what I'm going into now. Agency advancement is like what I call the program. Essentially, it's a coaching program. I say for lead gen agencies mainly because it would work best for them. But realistically, any agency, and we help them add, like I say now, 20K MRR in less than 90 days using a niche expert inbound and outbound lead machine. So pretty much turning yourself into an authority or an expert with with Instagram, Twitter, that type of thing, using ads, using LinkedIn as well as the outbound system, and pretty much just fixing everything. Like I wouldn't say we do one thing, we do kind of everything for these agency owners, and making sure everything's set up, like from offer restructuring to funnel building and everything. So it definitely is a lot, but it's something that I've been loving to do. And like, for example, one of our clients, working with him for 2 weeks, he signed a 30K deal, like 10.5K per month within the first 2 weeks. And something that you told me as well is that, it feels way better seeing your students win than it does when you win. And I was like, that is crazy. I was like, that I don't believe that. And then I realized it's true. Like that, honestly, I had like more enjoyment from the fact that he signed that huge deal than from when I signed a deal. So I realized like, this is what I want to do for the next, couple weeks, couple months, couple years, is to consult pretty much other agency owners and other businesses and help them grow.
Awesome, dude. And you're right, it's way more enjoyable. But like for those who watching, I Grayson, a friend of mine, Grayson Lopez, and like he's preaching that like agency owners, you should transition to like coaches and stuff. And yes, I believe that like coaching is way more fulfilling than agency. And even though like I was passionate about like my agency, still when I transitioned to full-time coach, I'm like enjoying my life. I wake up every day like at 4:30 or whatever, and I'm like, cool, more coaching calls, stuff like that. Right. So it's really fulfilling. But like the reason why you're transitioning now and not like 2 months ago, because you actually built your agency. You now have this experience, like 30K MRR. It's like a killer agency. Not all of them are making it like through like 10K months, but you made it to 30K months, and now you can teach the stuff that you made yourself. So I just want to make sure that everyone who is watching coaching is not the best business to start if you're like a complete beginner. Go do something like on your own, like help someone else achieve something that you can teach, and only then transition to a coach. Yes, it's more fulfilling, but it's not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you should start teaching stuff that you haven't done for yourself. That's the main thing, because
and it would probably be less fulfilling at that point, because if you don't know what you're teaching, you're just going to be screwing over your clients, and that would just be a nightmare.
Yeah,
so no.
Exactly. But you know, the reason why I'm saying this is because like I feel like there is a bunch of coaches who are like doing exactly that, and it's like it's so bad for the industry in general. And I'm glad that you transitioned, because we need more like actually like coaches who actually done something and then like they're still doing, because I know that you still have this agency, you still run like these clients and stuff, so you're not like you know, like now I'm just selling my knowledge and that's it, you know. Because you need to constantly update this knowledge. If you are selling something that worked like 2 years ago, I mean, it will not work in this like fast digital world. So I think it's the right way for you, not for everyone who is watching. Build your agency first, then transition to coaching. That's the great way to build the life you want. Do you have something else to say, to like some advice, or maybe like if people want to find you, like what's the best place, like go for it.
Yeah, sure. So some advice for like newer agency owners and someone who's around like, let's say the 10K MRR mark is honestly exactly what I said earlier, like those 3 steps. So follow those, start writing content. First thing I would say, honestly, if you want to skip everything else, just start posting content on your personal brand. That's the biggest piece of advice. Yeah. And number 2, if you actually start want to scale from like 10 to 30, definitely put a lot of importance and a lot of time into building like proper processes and systems and tracking everything, because that was a mistake I made honestly with the TikTok agency, is that you know, I didn't have the experience obviously, so I couldn't have known. But when I went from 10 to like 30K a month, everything on the service delivery side of things got much harder, and it was hard to manage because everything was not being tracked properly. And that caused me a huge headache and just a bunch of problems within the agency. So I would say if you're trying to scale, focus on actually creating personal brand content, and 2, make sure that you're tracking everything, that you're developing some proper processes so that nothing you know, erupts and breaks once it hits that type of number, right? Because it's hard to grow your agency to 30K. It's very easy to go from 30 to 0. You can do that in 1 month, you know what I mean? It's very easy. So it's hard to go from 0 to 30, but it's very easy to go from 30 to 0. So make sure you have stuff in place so that doesn't happen. Yeah. In terms of where you can find me, you can find me on any social media platform at Eric Sadko, so at ERICSADKO. And yeah, that's pretty much everything.
Don't worry, I'll link your social media under this video. So like
awesome.
If you were guys watching it on YouTube, just check the description, find Eric and follow him. What an awesome interview, guys. I hope you liked it. If so, drop me a follow and like this video. And also one last note for you. If you are an agency owner or a coach and looking to scale to 30K months with a personal brand on Twitter and Instagram, DM me Scale on Instagram and let's brainstorm a plan for your agency or coaching business to grow to 30K months. And let's see if the social sniper strategy that Eric used and told you about in this video will work in your case. So DM me Scale on Instagram. Also feel free to check out my free mini course in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.